Well, for more on Europe's coronavirus response, let's cross over to Brussels and join our political editor, Darren McCaffrey. Darren, a lot of EU countries are looking to the Commission here for leadership. Can you just outline what the Commission has been doing on coronavirus?
Well, in many regards, of course, this delay by Pfizer is entirely out of the control of the European Commission, the company deciding that it's going to wind down for a short period of time its production of the vaccine. That is likely to hit supplies to all EU countries in the weeks to come, particularly towards the end of this month and the start of next. It's not just in Europe, it must be said. Canada, for example, is going to face a similar problem. But the idea is, Alistair, that actually they will then ramp up production later on at the start of spring, around March time, and that in the first quarter, essentially, of this year, in the end, the countries expecting to get the number of vaccines at the start of the year should probably get them by the end of the first quarter. So there is going to be some short-term difficulties, I think, for countries. They may well have to readjust some of their expectations about precisely how many people they can vaccine in the weeks to come. But ultimately, it shouldn't have too much of a knock-on effect in terms of vaccine programmes in different member states. Ursula von der Leyen insisting, as I say, that those vaccines will get to all member states. But ultimately, in the end, this is, of course, a decision made by Pfizer and is out of the control, to a degree, of the European Commission. Though it must be said, 6 EU health commissioners have signed a letter to the Commission expressing their concern about these potential delays. Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania and Sweden saying that they think that the current situation is unacceptable and they want to see action, or at least the attempted action, be made by the Commission if it can possibly do so.
And some EU countries have been complaining that they've been receiving a smaller proportion of vaccines compared to their neighbours. What's been happening?
Yeah, indeed. Under the whole vaccination progress inside the EU, in effect, what's meant to happen is that countries receive the number of vaccinations based on their population. So, of course, Germany, for example, would receive the most. Although some other countries like Malta and Luxembourg would receive far fewer, but it would be based essentially on per head of population. But that distribution doesn't seem to have gone, at least initially, to plan, with several European countries seemingly have received more proportionally than others. This seems to be teething problems rather than anything fundamental, Alistair. And most countries, it must be said, have got far more vaccines than they are giving out at the moment. In fact, if anything, countries seem to be stockpiling them rather than rolling out the vaccination programme quickly enough. It must be said that many countries are still simply vaccinating tens of thousands every day. Compare that, for example, with the United Kingdom today that vaccinated 280,000 people. Turkey managed to vaccinate 250,000 people today alone. Though it must be said, those concerns about supply should somewhat ease. The Moderna vaccine, which has already been authorised by the European Medicines Agency, is expected to be distributed this weekend and into next week. That, of course, will help. And in the weeks to come, we're expecting the EMA also to authorise the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. And that, again, should help member states have more than enough doses to essentially vaccinate all of us Europeans in the months to come. The question will then roll onto member states and to national capitals and to governments whether they can effectively and quickly vaccinate people in an appropriate way.
Darren McCaffrey in Brussels, our political editor, thanks very much.